And hello there again, Alan Biggs welcoming you to this week's Ref Show. Fair to say that last week comments made by the panel went far beyond this studio. We welcome back the self-same panel, Keith Hackett and Mark Halsey this week. And once again, there are a fair sprinkling of talking points. I think Neil Swarbrick, West Brom 1, Hull 0. I didn't read any kind of debatable incidents there.
No, I think it's, West Brom Hull, you look at it on paper, and reverence, if you're any half-decent referee, it's an easy game to referee. But as I say that, no game's easy. It would have been interesting when he gave the free kick to West Brom for the deliberate pass back. Now, if that had gone in without a deflection, it's an indirect free kick, as everybody knows. Now his arm wasn't raised, so he didn't communicate to everybody that's an indirect free kick. Now that's a learning curve for young referees watching this show, and it would have been interesting had the ball gone in without deflection.
Moving on to Jonathan Moss, who's got more than a few mentions here this season, often disparaging, but Arsenal 3, Stoke 0. He earned some praise on our RefCam on youartheref.com, although I think there are one or two issues that you'd like to highlight, Mark. Yeah,
I just thought, although there wasn't big issues in the game, I just felt that his awareness what was going on around him was not at the level it should be for that level of refereeing. There was things going off between Giroud and Shawcross. There was Crouch and Mertesacker, and there was lots of little niggles that were going on in that game that I just felt a referee at that level should have just picked up on and stamped his authority on the game. And also when we had that push on the Arsenal player, we went off with his shoulder injury.
Okay, Roger East, Chelsea 2, Newcastle 0. There was a big talking point there. It couldn't have been more blatant, could it?
Big game for him. He's not had that many games this season.
6 games Roger's refereed. That's a massive game for Roger East to do. He's a lovely lad. I'm not so sure he's ready yet for that big game. And I know from inside sources at Newcastle they weren't very happy with his performance at all. Even though he missed a penalty for Chelsea.
This was Colaccini and
once again he knows what he's doing. He's put his arm towards the ball. He's stopped the ball coming into the box. And once again we're talking about it's one of the easiest laws to implement for me, deliberate handball. It's so easy.
Absolutely. Swiftly through, we've got 2 more. Michael Oliver was at Leicester. They beat Aston Villa by a single goal to 0. There were a couple of penalty claims there. What do you think for Leicester?
I think it's all down to opinions. I think they deserved the penalty out of the 2. You can say they could have had a penalty, but I thought Michael I thought he handled the game really well.
He had a mass confrontation, effectively, and you saw a maturity and an experience coming out, and I thought he managed that really, really well, and he remained calm, which is important when you have a mass confrontation.
And I thought his recognition of the challenge by Matty James was absolutely first class.
Talking of confrontation, Phil Dowd at the centre of Manchester United and Southampton should have had a penalty, I think, for grappling Southampton in the first half. But that wasn't the biggest talking point, Mark, was it?
No, it wasn't. I think Robin van Persie, lost a little bit of patience with Phil Dowd when he had an injury. The ball was kicked out and the play was restarted with a drop ball. I think Phil was very lenient with Robin van Persie. I thought he was very lucky not to escape at least a caution for throwing the ball at Phil Dowd. And you can see Phil was very, very agitated, and I really do believe that Phil should have taken some sort of action.
Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah, Phil again is a very experienced referee, a very good man manager. A few years ago, he would have gone into an absolute stand-up argument.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was confrontational in his style.
He was fuming yesterday.
And in fairness to him, he held it. And I thought that's good of him to hold it. Yeah, because Mark's right. The outcome is that there's no way that Van Persie should not have had a yellow card.
Keith, Mark, many thanks. Just before we go, we do welcome your input, we do welcome your questions, your observations. We'll even mention some of those on the Ref Show if you'd get in touch with the site. Somebody has, all the way from Canada. This is Andy Murty saying he looks forward to the show every week. Actually, he was a semi-pro player in the north of England, he says, at one time. He really looks forward to the show. Just makes one point, says it's refreshingly good, but says that he'd really like to see some of the action that we're talking about. about. Now, that is a very good point. It's one that occupies us at You Are the Ref, and it's fair to say that discussions are underway to try to get some footage on, but you'll recognise that that's a very complex and difficult issue in the world of broadcasting. But we can highlight the incidents. I'm sure you remember most of them anyway. Keith and Mark will fill in the gaps as they do here every week. Thank you for your company. Look forward to your company again next week. Bye-bye for now.